which one is better, the classic mint julep or the rum julep from Don the Beachcomber? To be completely honest with you, when you look at these ingredients, these drinks aren't even close. But while the Don the Beachcomber version is 10 times more complex than the traditional, it is based on a julep. The modern julep or mint julep was first found in print in 1803, and believe it or not, its origin is not specifically made with Kentucky bourbon or even from Kentucky. We don't really know, but the earliest recipes use either whiskey or also very likely rum. While it was around in the early 1800s, its popularity would end up taking off later and is often credited to Henry Clay. In 1850, Kentucky Senator Henry Clay introduced the bourbon mint julep to Washington, D.C. Clay was at one point the Speaker of the House, a United States Senator, and the Secretary of State. Clay is responsible for introducing the Compromise of 1850, which was a complicated bill, and while it allowed California to enter the Union as a free state, it kind of just postponed the inevitability of the American Civil War. And while prolonging slavery and postponing the inevitable war was not necessarily a good thing, it did allow the Union in the North to modernize and industrialize over that 10-year period, leading to an advantage later on. Bet you didn't think you'd be going down that rabbit hole when you clicked on this video, did you? After Henry Clay passed away in 1851, he was the first person ever to lie in state at the United States Capitol Rotunda. You can even find Henry Clay's own mint julep recipe from his personal journal online. You'll learn something new every day. So let's just get started with a basic mint julep or traditional mint julep, which is incredibly basic. You'll need some simple syrup, bourbon, mint, and more mint to garnish. All right, let's try a traditional mint julep. It's nice, it's boozy. It's the type of drink that will change over time as your ice melts and you're gonna dilute your bourbon. I like using an overproof bourbon here. I'm using Wild Turkey 101. So you're getting a little more flavor in there because you're using a higher proof bourbon. And that way, as it melts over time, as you get all that dilution, you're gonna be able to keep a pretty strong and tasty drink. Also, I would highly recommend this mint saver that I found on Amazon. It will keep your mint fresh for a couple weeks. Usually mint turns bad real quickly, so as we get into the summertime and I want more mint on hand, I can store it in here. It's not cheap, it's like 30 bucks, I think, but I think it's worth it if you're spending $2 to $3 for a little bunch of mint. This will prolong it. I think you can probably rig your own up as well. So I'll put a link for that below as well, because I think it's great for the summertime. And now for Don's rum julep. The recipe today comes from none other than Jeff the Beach Bum Berry. And if you're wondering why most and almost all Don the Beachcomber recipes are coming from Jeff the Beach Bum Berry, it's because most of Don's recipes were secrets. No one really knew the exact recipes. Don's recipes were often much more complex than others, like Trader Vic's. But Trader Vic's released most of his recipes in several editions of his bartender's manuals. And he only really guarded the Mai Tai. And even with that, he never truly hid the recipe. Don, on the other hand, held these recipes as close secrets. Trade secrets in reality. He used codes for different ingredients that you'd actually need to decipher to get to the real recipe. While the secrecy added to the mysterious and even dangerous nature of the tiki genre he created, it mainly was used to protect his business and his brand. People would quite literally come to Don the Beachcombers and steal his secrets, recipes, and his ideas. Victor Bergeron left Oakland, California one day where he ran the Hinky Dinks restaurant to visit Don the Beachcombers in Hollywood. He would then later return to Oakland, closed down his restaurant immediately and rebranded as Trader Vic's. The copycats were everywhere, and while some, like Trader Vic, mainly took inspiration from Don, some would basically steal his cocktails and even hire away his bartenders, which is why he had his recipes in code. Now, in the second half of the 20th century, people were able to experiment with what they thought were Don's recipes and piece things together. But there wasn't a published written account of Don's secrets, like what's Don's mix, what is number 9, or what are the ingredients in Don's gardenia mix. Now fast forward to when Jeff Berry and Anine K released Grog Log in 1998, people started reaching out to Berry directly. This is all chronicled in Sippin' Safari, and while the book is full of tiki recipes, it's also a great account of his experiences in tiki and how he came about the secrets of Don the Beachcomber. He eventually was able to figure this out from different sources, copies of Don's recipes from one person and the secret codes from another. Until he had this information, no one really knew Don the Beachcomber's recipes and everyone was just guessing. Which is why almost all accurate Don the Beachcomber recipes that you come across today are sourced from Jeff the Beachbum Berry. It is also important to note that around the same time that Grog Log came out, Don Beach's widow, Phoebe Beach, wrote a book with Arnold Bittner titled Hawaiian Tropical Rum Drinks and Cuisine by Don the Beachcomber. Now, from the description of the book, it includes photos and vintage recipes for food and even party guides, but I'm not entirely sure how much this book covers some of Don's secret recipes. It's just something that I've never been able to see in person. Don the Beachcomber's Rum Julep was served at the International Marketplace in Waikiki, and Berry points to it originally being created by Don in 1940. That's all covered in his books and in the Total Tiki app, all of which I highly recommend. For Don's Rum Julep, you'll need a lot, quite a lot, including angostura bitters, allspice dram, falernum, grenadine, honey syrup, orange juice, lime juice, Jamaican rum, and Demerara Rum. It's a pretty intense drink, and we'll build this in a Drink Master tin with 1 dash of angostura bitters, a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice dram, a 1/4 teaspoon of velvet falernum, a 1/4 teaspoon of grenadine, 1/2 ounce of honey syrup, 1/2 ounce of orange juice, 1/2 ounce of lime juice, 1/2 ounce of the Jamaican rum, and 1.5 ounces of a Demerara rum. Add 1/2 scoop of ice and flash blend this for 5 seconds. Pour it into your swizzle cup. And garnish with mint. And there you have it, the Rum Julep from Don the Beachcomber. So let's try these head to head, and I'll just say here, the garnish here, it is so simple, yet these are two of like the most stunning drinks you can have. This is just a barfly julep cup. I think when I bought these last year, they were out of the silver one, so I got the copper. And this is from Jeff the Beachbum Berry. These are made on the traditional Don the Beachcomber style. They're available at Cocktail Kingdom. So let's give it a taste. So much going on in there. I don't even remember everything we put in it. The one thing I'm picking up more than anything else, which is surprising because it's such a small amount, is that pimento dram. Now, if you've ever had the Hamilton pimento dram, it is more intense. It has that funky Jamaican flavor. It is a more intense pimento dram. So if you're used to St. Elizabeth, then maybe dial this down a little bit. I happen to like it. I think it just adds another dimension to the drink. But all the spices in this one are kind of forming together to create their own thing. It's one of those wonderful like tiki drinks that has those complex warm spices, I think it's a wonderful drink, but you know, I kind of said this in the beginning. It's not that similar to a normal mint julep. And honestly, like, I don't think this matters at all. These should not be compared, but it comes down to, you know, complexity versus simplicity. If you want mint and you want bourbon, then you're gonna go with traditional. If you want something interesting and different and complex and tiki and rum forward, then you're gonna go with Don's. And they are not similar, but they're loosely related. And I think they're both great drinks. And if you're enjoying the horse races or just hanging out on a hot summer day, these are gonna be great options for you. Just look at the frostiness on these. That's like the whole thing. It's part of the allure of these drinks, that ice cap on the top, that mint sprig coming out of it, and the frosty mug. That's it for this one. I'm Derek. This is Make and Drink. If you enjoyed this video, then give the video a like below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you've ever had Don the Beachcomber's Rum Julep, let me know what you thought about it. It's interesting, it's different, it's unique, and I think it's pretty good. You can also check out these videos right here. Otherwise, see you in the next one.